and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to give you a tour of my Google Sheets Christmas planner. This is going to work every single year. All you need to do is jump into the settings tab, double click here and select your Christmas day for the corresponding year, and it's going to work every single year. I created this for those of you who are obsessed with Christmas, you're obsessed with planning, organization, budgeting. Basically, if you're obsessed with Christmas and being super efficient, I created this for you. So I hope you like it. I hope you find it useful. I'm gonna do a quick overview of the entire template and everything that's included. And then I'm gonna deep dive into every single section. So if you're interested, you can just keep watching and you can find the link to purchase the template in the description. So let's get into it. We're gonna start with the expense tracker. And the way I created this is I separated it in two sections. I separated it in Christmas gifts and then everything else. When we're talking money and Christmas, we're not just talking about gifts. There's dinners, special outings, there's trips. So everything that's related to your Christmas spending, you can budget for that in here as well. It's not only a gift tracker. So everything that's not related to the gifts, you're gonna use these two tables over here, and I'm gonna deep dive into those in a minute. And then for everything that's related to the Christmas gifts, you have these two tabs right here. So you have your budget planner, which when it's empty and you're just getting started, it's gonna give you suggestions based on your gift budget. So as soon as you start adding a budget to each of your gift recipients, these suggestions are going to start to change. To make sure that you are both splitting things evenly, you have an overview of how much you're spending on everyone, and then it's also going to help you stay on budget. So the way this works is you start with your most important gifts, those that are set in stone, so you keep those on top, and then you'll see how much money you have left for all of those that are maybe a little bit more optional. So this is where you do all of your gift budget planning, and then you have an actual gift tracker. So this is where you brain dump every single one of your ideas. You can mark them as done. If you want to temporarily hide them, you just check this box, and then the spreadsheet will behave as if this row never existed. So this is great to brainstorm, and then if you need to delete something, you don't actually have to delete it. You can just check this box and then you can bring it back whenever you want. So I'm just gonna bring them back, and if you scroll all the way to the right, you're gonna find some summaries that are basically just showing you every single one of your gifts, but this table will also allow you to sort them. So you could sort by store, for example, and you have everything that you're supposed to buy in a certain store all together, and then you can choose not to show the ones that are done and just the gifts that are pending. So you have a bunch of summaries that we'll talk about later. You have a table that's going to help you track every single one of your gift payments, and then that information, the gift payments information, is going to get joined together with your other expenses, and then you'll see how much you have spent on Christmas overall. So these three tabs are where this template really shines, and then you have just a very simple card tracker in case this is something that you do. You have your progress bar over here, and then finally, of course, you have a Christmas to-do list. And what's cool about this tab is that you can have as many to-do lists as you want. All you have to do is right click on this tab and then click on duplicate, and then you get a new one. So this could be for a dinner, for example. This could be for a trip. So you can have multiple to-do lists. All you need to do is duplicate the original one, and it just pretty much behaves as a regular to-do list, but I will dive into that later. Every single drop down is fully customizable. And then finally, summaries from every single one of those tabs, except for the to-do list, is gonna get pulled into your Christmas dashboard. So you'll see how many gifts are done, what status your gifts are at. You have a payment summary over here, and then you also get all of your expenses summarized. And as I mentioned, you can change the Christmas day every single year. You change that in the settings tab by double clicking and changing the date, and then you get this calendar, and it's just a little visual helper since everything sort of starts happening somewhere near November, and then maybe it'll jump into January. So that was a quick overview, and if you would like to get a full tour in which I just deep dive into every single section and show you how it's used, you can keep watching, and let's get into it. So let's start with the expense tracker. And the first thing you need to know about this tab is that you will only edit cells that have a white background. So that leaves us with this cell right here, these two columns right here, and then this table over here. So the expense tracker is divided into two sections. I separated Christmas gifts from everything else. So the very first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna add a budget for gifts in this cell. So whenever you change it here, it's gonna get updated over here. To create a budget for the rest of your expenses, you're gonna start by creating different categories over here, and then you're gonna assign a budget to each of them. So whatever you add here is gonna end up getting added up here, and then this is going to be your total budget for everything that's Christmas related, for your gifts, and then everything else. Now that your budget is ready, whenever you actually pay for something, you're going to add a transaction in this table. Now, this table is only meant for things that are not related to the actual gifts. The gifts you're gonna work with on these two tabs over here. So everything else that is not related to gifts, whenever you pay for something, you are going to input a transaction over here. And the most important thing to remember is that every single transaction needs to have an expense category assigned to it. And these expense categories, this drop down is getting created with whatever you input here. So if I were to add something new, you're gonna see that updated over here. And whatever amount you input in this table is going to get automatically added up in its corresponding expense category in the actual column. So you can add several transactions for a single category and it's all gonna get grouped and added up over here. These gray cells are automated. This is where the actual amounts are getting added up from every single one of your transactions. And then this difference table is just showing you the difference between the budget and the actual amount, and it's also automated. And then completely optional, you can also double click and set the date in which you bought that, and you can also assign a payment method to it, and these are fully customizable. I'm going to show you how you do that later. So this is where you can see how much money you have spent on other expenses, stuff that is not related to the actual gifts, and then you can compare it against your budget over here to see how much money you have left or to check if you are over budget. Now, if you scroll to the right, you're gonna see two extra tables. These are completely automated. The Christmas gifts table is pulling gifts from the gift tracker. So whenever you mark a gift as paid in the gift tracker, it's going to automatically show up here. And then this total is going to get pulled automatically into this summary. So you're gonna be able to see side by side how much money you're spending on gifts, on everything else Christmas related. And then you're gonna see those added up together. So you have your entire Christmas budget and you're gonna see how much money you have left. So let's jump into the fun part, which is the actual gift planning and gift tracking. So let's start in the gift budget planner tab. And before you jump into this tab, make sure you have added a budget for your Christmas gifts in this cell over here. So whatever you add here is going to get automatically updated over here. So this is where you're going to be able to see your total budget. And right now it shows that all of it has been assigned. So I'm going to delete this so we can run through a quick example of how this works. And the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to make a list of all of the people that you're going to give gifts to. I would put my closest family and friends at the top. As soon as you start adding names, you're gonna see this table update automatically. And what's happening here is this right here is letting you know how much money you need to assign per person so you can split this budget evenly. So right now, everyone is getting the same amount. So let's say these three people up here are our most important gifts. So we're gonna add a bigger budget to them. And as soon as I do that, the suggested budget that gets split evenly across everyone else that is left starts to decrease. And this will keep on happening. Whenever you set an actual budget for each of these people, these numbers are going to get updated to make sure that you stay on track. So the way you do this is you start with the most important gifts, your closest family and friends. So you start with those gifts that are absolutely set in stone and you give those a budget, and then you can see how much you have left for every other gift. So this is how you make sure you are prioritizing and that your most important gifts are being covered before you jump into the maybe more optional ones. And then as an additional feature, you can also add an expected number of gifts. So if I were to give 5 gifts to this person, then you get a suggestion for a budget per gift. So you can maybe give 10 gifts over here, and then this is the budget per gift that you get suggested. But this is completely optional to use. You can also just add 1 just to make sure that the cells are no longer red. And then as an additional feature, let's say you want to give 2 gifts to these 3 people. And right now now the budget is still split evenly between the number of people that are left. But if you want to give maybe more gifts to these 3 people, you can choose to see suggestions split evenly per gift. So in this case, the suggestions are giving these 3 people a bigger budget than the ones that are only getting 1 gift. So when this is empty, it assumes that it's just 1, but we can just add 1 to get rid of the red highlight. So whoever gets 1 gift gets $40 assigned. Whoever gets 2 gifts gets $80 assigned. And as you can see, all gifts are $40 gifts. Let's just finish filling this out. And if you are ever over budget, let's add a bigger number over here, you're gonna get a warning in here. And you can totally choose to splurge and change your budget. So you can do that over here. You jump back into this expense tracker and you set a new budget, and then everything is going to be fine. But ideally, you make your plan first and you actually stick to it. And all we did here was plan our budget. This is very general, so let's get super specific. Now let's jump into the gift tracker, and what you're gonna do here is you're going to brainstorm every single one of your gift ideas. So you can add as many rows as you want, and you start by selecting a recipient. So this drop down is fully customizable and it gets created with the recipients that you added here. So first you have to fill in this table so that your drop down gets created over here and you can select a recipient. So then you can add all the basic gift information. You can just add your gift idea over here, the store where you'll buy it. Then you have this drop down for your category that is fully customizable. And the place where you customize that is over here. You jump into the settings section, and on this area right here, you just add your categories in case that's important to you. And then the drop down gets created automatically with those elements that you added over here. Then you can select a date in which you want that gift to be ready. You have a status drop down, you have some room for notes, and you have a space to add a link. And then if you keep scrolling, you're gonna find this table over here. And this table is meant to handle the cost and the payment. So the price of each gift, you're gonna add that over here. And then whenever you actually buy it, you can check this box, and then you'll see how much money you've paid and how much money is spending. So as soon as I start checking these boxes, this one starts to increase. Everything that is paid will be shown in this column right here, and it will be added up here. And then everything that is pending will show here, and it will be added up here. So if you look up here, you're gonna see your budget, and that amount is pulled automatically from what you said over here. And then you're gonna see your budget left. So basically, whenever you pay your gifts, this number starts to decrease. Now that number is not taking into consideration those gifts that you already know how much you're gonna pay, you just haven't paid them yet. So if you want that to be taken into consideration as well, you can just check this box, and the budget left will be taking into consideration every single one of these amounts, no matter if it's paid or not. So it's entirely up to you to leave that box checked or unchecked, and then you just have your total plus pending. So you have your total paid, your total pending, and then this one is showing both of those amounts added up. And as you may recall, I mentioned that in the expense tracker, this area was completely automated. So the information that you're seeing here is getting pulled automatically from the gift tracker. So whenever I mark a gift as paid, in this case, these AirPods, you're gonna see those automatically added up here. So this table is getting updated automatically as soon as you mark a gift as paid. And as you can see, this total paid over here is the same total paid that you're gonna see up here. And then it's the same that you're gonna see here. So this is all getting pulled automatically. Additionally, you can also select a payment method, and you can double click and set the date in which you paid that. And these payment method drop downs are fully customizable. And the place where you customize those elements is in the settings tab. You're gonna go into the payment method section, and whatever elements you add here are gonna be shown in this payment method drop down on the gift tracker and also on the expense tracker that I mentioned earlier. So every single drop down is fully customizable. And then in the expense tracker, there's one additional summary that I didn't mention before. It's the payment method summary. And what this is doing, it's just grouping every single one of your payments by payment method, and that's including including your Christmas gift transactions and your other transactions. So this total for what you actually paid is just going to be summarized over here by payment method. So that's just an additional automated table in case that's important to you. Now there are a couple of additional features that you need to know about in this table. So the best part about this gift tracker is that you can just brainstorm. You can add several options for a single person, and if you're torn between two options, you haven't decided, you're maybe looking for one gift, but if you can't find that, you'll get something else. So you can input anything you want, and if you want the spreadsheet to ignore a row, all you have to do is click on this hide checkbox. What you're doing with this checkbox is letting the spreadsheet know that it should ignore that row. So you can leave one checked and one unchecked for two different options, and then if something changes, you can just switch them back. So you can play around with these checkboxes instead of deleting the entire row. So as you can see right now, I checked every single box, and this is all zeros. So it's behaving as if none of these gifts exist. Everything is zero, and all you have is your budget, which you added on a different tab. You have no gifts paid, even though these boxes are checked, because the entire spreadsheet will literally ignore these rows. As soon as I start unchecking the boxes, they're sort of brought back to life. So this is just a cool feature that allows you to add whatever you want and treat this as a gift tracker and also as a place to brainstorm. This is not to be confused with marking a gift as done. The place where you do that is you're gonna use this status drop down over here. So these are fully customizable, and you can decide how you're gonna name these elements. But there is one element that is special, and that element is gonna let the spreadsheet know that that gift is ready, it's done, it's bought, wrapped, it's finished. So you can name this whatever you like. I'm just gonna select something else, and I'm gonna show you where you change that label. So you're gonna jump into the settings section and you change it over here. So right now it's called finished, but it could be called done. So I'm gonna call that done, and you're gonna see that changes over here, and that element appears in my drop down. So whenever I select the done element, this counter is increasing and this one is decreasing. This label you can also change, and if you called this done, it makes sense that this one is called not done. So the place where you change that is you scroll all the way down and you're gonna find an option here. So let's call that not done. And now that label changed. So anything that is done, you're gonna see in this counter. Everything else, you're gonna see in this counter over here. You have 5 of them because you have this row as well. But I'm just gonna delete it, and you have these 4 that are not done. And then the rest of these status elements, there's room for 5, and you're gonna change those in between the done and not done options. You change them here. So you have room for different status options before the gift is ready, it's done. So this is completely optional, but you do have to set a done option just so you can have a visual reference of what gifts are ready. And then you have some summaries over here. These are completely automated. So this right here is just basically the same table. You can just sort it however you like. You can sort it by any of these options in ascending or descending order. And then you can choose to not show the ones that are done. So these ones are done, and you can choose to not show them. So remember, the done one, that's signaled by adding this. So if I mark every single one as done in my status option, I'm not gonna see anything unless I uncheck this box. You can see the payment status, so all of them are paid except for one. So I check this box, and now you can see it as paid. And you can also sort it by store, which is super useful, by status, anything you like. So you have all of these options. And then if you scroll to the right, you're gonna see a summary. So first you need to select a column name so you can view the corresponding summary. So you can summarize by recipient, you can summarize by category, and then by store or status, and you have the number of gifts in that category. For example, right now I'm sorting by category, so you can see how much you've spent on a specific person, for example. So this is just a summary, and you can sort that table as well in ascending or descending order and use any of these options. And then one last element, and again these 3 are fully automated and completely optional. If you scroll all the way to the end, you're gonna see every single one of your recipients. So you added those in in your budget planner. So you're gonna see all of your recipients, you're gonna see the budget that you planned, which is what you added here. And then you're gonna see the total of what you have actually paid. You're gonna get the difference, you're gonna get the expected number of gifts, the actual number of gifts, and then you're gonna get the difference. So you have all of this information available. You can sort this table by any of these options, again in ascending or descending order, and you can choose to include the ones that are pending. So as you can see, if I do that, this changes to total paid plus pending. So for example, let's unpay a few of this. So right now you have this number over here, and if I uncheck this box, then I won't see the ones that are pending. I will just see the ones that are actually paid. So this is useful in case you already know that this is absolutely what you're gonna pay. You just haven't bought it yet, but you absolutely will. So that's why this checkbox is useful. So this gift budget planning and gift tracking part, this is where the template really shines. And you also have your expense tracker, but I also wanted to add a few extra features in case you use this. So you also have a card tracker, and this is pretty self-explanatory. All you need to do is fill out this information. So this is just a regular table. There are no drop downs. This is just a regular cell in which you can input whatever you want. So you get name, group, delivery method. If it has been sent, you can just check this box and you'll see this counter change, and then you'll see this progress bar change as well. So if I check every single one of these, you reach 100%. So it's just basic card tracking information in case this is something that you do. Finally, you have a to-do list. So this is a must-have pretty much whenever you do anything, but also for Christmas. So this works as a regular to-do list, and all of these drop downs are fully customizable. You can double click and select a due date over here, and then this one is customizable as well. So you get 4 customizable drop downs. 3 of them you are going to edit in the settings tab. So you're gonna jump in here and you'll find this section, and then the elements that you add in each of these tables are the ones that are gonna fill in your 3 drop downs over here. And then as you can see, you have a 4th drop down, and this one you can customize in this table to the left. So you add a title, which could be category, for example, and you'll see that update here. And then whatever you add here, you will find in your drop downs. And then whenever you check these boxes, you'll see these progress bars to the left update. And then you have your overdue, pending, and done counters. And then if you scroll to the right, you're gonna find your pending task summary table. And this one is just pulling in whatever elements are not marked as done. So if I check all of these boxes, then this table will be empty, so you will only see pending tasks over here. And then you can use these drop downs to sort them by any of these elements in ascending or descending order, and you have your progress bar up here. So when you get the template, this will be completely blank, and what you can do is just right click on this tab and click duplicate, and you can create as many to-do lists as you want. I suggest you always keep a blank one, just so that's the one that you create copies from. And these 3 drop downs that I mentioned before will be shared between every single one of the tabs that you create. So these elements will always be the elements that you added in the settings tab. But then this one will be unique to its own tab. So for example, I could name this category 1, and that's what you'll get here, but that's not what you'll get here. And then if I add something new over here, I'm gonna see that element in this tab, but I won't be seeing that element on the other tabs. So this one and this column, it's unique to its own corresponding tab. So if you are creating one for a dinner, then you can have different elements that are unique to the Christmas dinner. If you're creating one for a trip, then you'll have stuff that is unique to a trip. And then everything else will be the same: person responsible, priority, and status. So you have your expense tracker, your gift budget planner, your gift tracker, your card tracker, and information from these 4 tabs is gonna get pulled automatically into this dashboard. So this is just a little helper and it's totally optional, but you have your gift status over here. So you have 8 gifts that are done. And if I had them on a different status, then that would be updated over here. Let's just change a few. So let's change these 3. And that's what you're gonna see over here. And then you have your gift payment status. So 3 are paid, 5 are pending. You get your progress bar. You get the budget that you added over here. And then you get your total plus pending and how much is left. And in case you haven't assigned a cost to a gift, you're gonna see a counter over here. If you deactivated anything like I showed you, then this is the counter that's going to tell you that. So you have a number of recipients, total gifts. So right now in your gift tracker, I only have these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 recipients and 5 gifts. So that's what you're seeing up here. And then if you scroll down, you're going to see the expense tracker. So you have your budget and whatever has been paid for your Christmas gifts transactions. So if I bring this back to life, I've paid, let's say 5, then you're gonna see how much you have paid over here and how much you have left. In this case, you're only seeing how much you've actually paid. Then you have a budget for your other transactions, how much you have actually paid, you get the difference, and then you get those added up here. So you have your budget, your total, and your difference, and this should match what you're seeing over here. So that's just basically the same information. And then if you're interested in knowing how much you have pending to pay, which is what you're seeing here, these 3 values add up to 124. So that's added up here, and then you can see the difference if you also include what's pending to be paid. So this is how much you have left from what you have actually paid, and then if you include pending, this is how much you have left, and then this is just a simple progress bar that's just basically this same progress bar right here. So if I send every single one of my cards, you'll see that they have all been sent. And up here you just have a calendar, and right now it's not November, but as soon as you reach November, every single day that goes by is gonna get grayed out until you reach Christmas Day. And remember, Christmas Day, you don't change it here, you change it in your settings tab, you double click, and then you set your Christmas Day for that year. And all that really happens is this calendar will be updated accordingly, and you'll get your counter of days until Christmas. And I suggest that you always keep a blank version of this in which you haven't added anything, just so you can go back to that blank version every year and create a new copy from it. So what you do is you just click on File, make a copy, you just give it a different name, and you use this to choose a different folder to store it in case that's what you want. And then you just click on make a copy, and you'll have a new copy that you can start editing while still saving your blank copy that you can reuse every single year. So that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you found it useful. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I would love to help you. And thank you so much for watching.